Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with the Founder. Oh my gosh, we actually have the coffee today, slash also tea.
See,
This is what happens when I do the morning shift of the recording. So, hey, proper to the name of this dang podcast. I'm Beck Bamberger, and we do this podcast, Coffee with the Founder, to explore the ins and outs of the mind of running a venture-backed startup with the founder themselves, because you got to be somewhat crazy and inane to do this. Am I right, Lark? Am I right?
absolutely. Yep.
Yes, basically. With us today is Lark Meadow. She's a co-founder and CEO of Aeon Blue in the climate space, working quite a lot with alternative fuels and how that could come to be on this planet that we all exist on, because we need some solutions here. And in short, it is seawater to fuels platform using and capturing CO2 from the air. So we will get all into it. But Lark, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Yes,
Lark, okay. You're up in Canada, correct?
I am.
Excellent. Jealous of you being up there. You were in, if I'm looking and reading my notes here, you were like in climate justice previously. How did you get into manufacturing seawater to fuel? Let's
Okay.
cover that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually working in gender rights, so
Mm-hmm.
social justice, for about 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did is I founded and was CEO of a gender rights organization.
The Sarah
Uh,
organization, right?
so it was, yeah, called the Viscera organization.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So we were based out of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were dedicated to female genre filmmakers. So that's sci-fi, fantasy, action, and horror films by women all over the world. So super bold. Yeah, just, I mean, a completely different perspective on film, and especially in genre film. And I would go and speak to audiences about the importance of women behind the lens. I would speak to people about the disparity between female and male directors in Hollywood and just educate audiences.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I really built that organization having no capital and just piece by piece, brick by brick. And I got to the point where I had realized that I flipped it. I was a philanthropist first, and usually you're a philanthropist after you maybe make your way in another industry. And so my brother gave me a call, and my brother's a little bit older than me. He's a scientist, he's an electrochemist and renewable energy scientist, and he asked for my help. And I had to think about it for a long time, but I realized that I was probably the only one who could do it because the amount of risk that you have to take to do something like this, to build a technology and
Yep.
bring it to the world, especially in climate tech. And so
It's not
this
for the
is
faint at heart. So this
not
is
for
a
the faint
brother
of
and
heart.
sister endeavor.
Yes, it is. It is.
I was on a walk yesterday with also a brother and sister team. I was with the sister, and the founder is wild and has all the ideas, but she's the like, oh, okay, hold on. Legally, here's what we can do. Okay, operationally, this is what's feasible. Like, she's on the ground, he's in the sky, and I'm like, I kind of like the brother sister or sibling duos. You don't see them as much, but
No, you
the ones
don't.
I've seen are quite magical, it seems. So how is that now working with your brother? Because it's almost now been 7 years for Aeon. She's like, oh my God, is it been 7 years?
It's actually been
According
longer.
to your LinkedIn. Actually, 7 years, 9 months, according to LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's actually been longer. We
Almost
were in
8.
stealth mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first time he gave me a call to talk about, hey, can you help me bring this technology to market was about 10 years ago. And I really had to dig into the industry, make sure this was going to be a right fit. We had to figure out our product market fit because the technology itself, it's a platform chemistry. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. And so, working with Doc, he is absolutely brilliant. He's modest. He's extremely modest. I've known he was brilliant. He was basically, um, he basically blew everybody out of the water when we were children. And so, and he's older, he's a little bit older than me. And I knew that he was going to do something that was really world changing. I just didn't know that I was going to be a part of it. So I do bring that practicality. I'm an executor, so I get in, I get the job done. That's really where my skill set is. And he invents the technology, and then we look at it practically and say, okay, how can we apply this?
Hmm.
Yep, to reduce emissions, make fuels, other products.
A little hard. It's
Yeah,
a little challenging, a little challenging. So
yeah,
I want to break down a little bit of how do you then do, thanks well, you're in Canada, Thanksgiving dinner or like the holidays or anything. Are you, because I've observed this with my parents, because they own their own business practice. They were both dentists together. And I will say, growing up, my God, it did not stop. I mean, at the dinner table, it was talking about patient like it was business. Business has always been in like the sphere for me, which I'm not complaining
yeah.
about. I'm a business owner now, so it was all good. But does that consume you both? Can you cut off or can you segment yourselves in like co-founder mode versus hey brother and sister mode?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is always intertwined,
Yes,
but I think that it's just about every day because I see him every day that
I
we
love
are
it.
able to, uh, e- especially section off the time to be a little goofy.
Yeah.
And yeah, because you need that as a team. I mean, it's incredible trust that you have to have between co-founders. And Yoshi, I call him Doc because in the early days, I felt very much like Marty McFly, chasing after him, asking him what a gigawatt was. But the amount of trust that you have to pull something like this off is astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but it's not just trust. You have got to laugh. You've got to laugh, preferably every day.
Hmm. So you're talking about trust, the
Yeah.
amount of trust. Go a little bit deeper into that as co-founders, as stewards of the business, or what would you illuminate with trust?
With siblings, it's all of the above.
Yeah.
So your trust between, in that relationship, that sibling relationship, but
Mm-hmm.
then you also have to have trust in a business relationship for it
Mm-hmm.
to work. So that is several layers. So that requires so much talking, so much communication. So that is something that we do and we've been doing for the past 10 years. It's a lot of talking, a lot of, especially in my early days, I had so many questions about the industry and especially about the technology and how things work. And, the more that I know, the more I don't know.
Oh, of
So,
course. That's
yeah,
how you know you're becoming expert, actually, when you go, I don't know a damn thing.
don't know a damn thing.
Mm,
And what you think you know and what may be right tomorrow might be wrong because things
completely,
move so fast.
completely, completely. How are you doing with that in terms of the speed and the complexity of the iteration? Because, Lark, y'all are selling alternative fuel, which deals with governments and big entities. I know you were telling me some wonderful projects and scopes that you got. Now that maybe doesn't move fast, as in like getting the PO from a government or an airline company, which you have done, which is amazing. But how are you, just as the human, dealing with the iterations of massive change that I think we're all just underwater with right now?
So it's a lot of information
Mm,
all at once.
mm-hmm.
Policy seems to be in different countries, it's shaping every single day.
Yep.
And we go forward with a plan and then we find out that there's something that we have to adapt to. And I think one of the most important things about being an entrepreneur and staying sane when you're an entrepreneur is being able to be fluid. And if
Mm-hmm.
you can look at every single, let's say you run into a challenge with a project, if you can really look at the challenge and figure out how you can navigate it where it benefits not just you but everybody else that's
Yeah.
involved,
Yeah.
that's where you win. That's where you win. And then
Mm.
the amount of information that I think everybody feels like they're underwater, there's no way that you're able to process that much information.
No.
There's just no way.
No. So you don't. That's my solution, Lark. I was like, well, I read the New York Times back to back in print and the Wall Street Journal back to back in print every day. Those are my systems.
Amazing.
I have some podcasts I listen to. Shout out NPR, shout out Wall Street Journal and New York Times, and that's about it. Because Lark, it's too much. That said, the second I step into BAM life, I'm on all the other. There's copious amounts of news I also consume just by the function of it. But dang, you were right. We were not built for this. We were not built for this.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more, if we may. Tell us.
Okay.
Let's go into a little bit of Aeon Blue. And I would love, and the reason I love doing this podcast is you get to get the snippet and the insight into the phenomenal technology that's going to hopefully solve some big, huge, hairy project or problem. So why don't you give me the problem and then what we're doing? Problem being too much reliance on fuel, of course, but articulate more.
Problem is that so we need to reduce our emissions.
Yep.
And there are industries that the world completely depends on that cannot be electrified.
Mm-hmm.
So
such as
the two big ones are aviation and maritime.
Yeah.
So these are, large planes. These are, extremely heavy ships that are carrying cargo.
Yeah.
That, there's just not enough ingredients in the world for batteries to move these vessels along.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that was, you explained the why, because, next question is like, well, why not? What are we doing? It's because, you can't be putting batteries on the damn 747. It's not, it's not working. Okay.
Right.
Great.
Right.
So,
and batteries do have a place. So,
yeah,
absolutely. So, so e-fuels, that's what we do. It works actually quite well, supporting other, battery related technologies like, making natural gas, and we can put that into the grid, and then you can, fuel up your car with the electricity, and boom, there you go. You used e-fuels and batteries. So I'll tell you what we do. So we have a machine. All right. It's based in saltwater electrochemistry. You still following me? You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All
right.
Take some notes.
We got seawater. We got air coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We split the hydrogen from the seawater.
Yep.
We capture CO2 from the atmosphere, all in the same energy step.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the same reactor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're using the same electrons to be both. So we're reducing those costs, efficiency.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we take that hydrogen and we take some of that CO2 and we put it together and we make fuels with it. And these are drop-in fuels. You can put it in your car. You can put it into a plane. You can put it into a ship. You can put it into your barbecue if you want, if you have a natural gas barbecue.
Yeah.
So we can do any kind of fuel that the buyer wants. The biggest demand in the industries that need it the most at this point are aviation and maritime, but gasoline, diesel, there's a lot of mandates, especially happening in Europe.
Big time. Yeah. So let me ask you, it sounds so obvious, and I already know what the answer is going to move to, but wow, Lark, well, why hasn't this been done before? Has it been just too cost prohibitive to do that reaction? Exactly. Yeah. So, and this is why I love the moment in green tech and why it like totally burst, 10 plus years ago or whatever. It wasn't cheaper. It wasn't better. The technology wasn't there. So the initiative of, well, it's better for the planet. No one cares about that. Now I feel and I just came from Climate Week last week in New York City. Now I feel like, we're in a moment where the technology is actually advanced enough where it makes it better, cheaper, faster. And that is the name of the game, because no one's saving the planet for shits and giggles or feeling good. It is because it needs to be cheaper and faster and better, massively better, not a kind of 1.2 better. No, it needs to be a 10x better. So to answer the question for those maybe listening, it's like, because now we actually can do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm in my 40s now. When I was in junior high, I had heard about my brother working on an invention that made fuel out of air and water. Okay, so this is back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, all of us did, of course. We are in the sci-fi era now. It's just,
Yeah, exactly. And so we have to be. And this
Basically, yeah.
this kind of technology, e-fuels technology, has been around, getting hydrogen from water. This has been around for over 100 years.
I
So
know.
that's been around. So the issue is that they couldn't make it economical.
Exactly.
And and so Doc has figured out a way to make it economical.
Hmm. And I love that you just articulate that so clearly because people maybe not in the tech sector. Well, why hasn't that happened? Why can't we, why can't you solve this disease or why can't you do it's like I always say, Lark, follow the money. This is my economic background. Follow the money. Is it 10x
Yeah,
expensive? Well, that's why it doesn't exist. Because even if we can, it doesn't make sense commercially. It doesn't make it's a science project right now. That disease is going to
exactly.
exist, unfortunately. I really think about that in health tech so often of like lots of things are pretty much can be solved. It's that it's so
I know.
expensive. So we
I
can't.
know.
No one's going to have the incentive to do it. So, the economics you got to be
Yeah.
close to. Mm,
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the promising things about AI
it
is
is.
that
It is.
yes.
Please,
Oh,
hopefully, please. Yes. Lark,
let's do
as,
it.
let's do it. Let's do it. As we wrap up here today, I here's one question I do like to ask. Not all the time, but on occasion, I think this is apropos for you. What have you
Okay.
changed your mind about recently?
So recent, as in the past.
Yeah, a year or so, whatever.
Okay.
Oh,
I used to stay so true to what I say I am going to do. I make a decision. I'd say, this is what I'm going to do. Maybe people are involved. We're doing a project. We're going along the path.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then I'll do it even if it was unfavorable. And I have changed my mind. I'm changing my mind. I would stick so much to my morals, with this belief that, if you're gonna say something that you're gonna do, then you gotta do it. And
Yes.
so I actually realized this quite a while ago, but it is a process of being able to identify and saying, you know what, I don't think that's the right opportunity for me. For a
Mm,
company, it's a little bit easier because then I'm acting on behalf of the people who are in the company and our
mm-hmm,
stakeholders,
mm-hmm,
and that's easier for me to identify those kinds of opportunities and say, "I don't think that that's the right decision or that's the right pathway." But for
mm,
myself specifically, I have I have definitely changed my mind on, you know, it's okay. It's okay to say, "You know what? I don't think that this is really a good situation for me," or, "I don't think that this is really the right pathway for me.
mm-hmm.
I don't think this is gonna give back to me enough in the amount of energy that I'm putting into it." It is it's an act of self-care,
Yes. I do
and I
think
love
too, it
yeah.
what a great point because you want to say like, well, I said it, so be impeccable with your word, which is in the four
Yes.
agreements, and it's yes. That said, I believe you can be impeccable with your word and have the honesty, the transparency to say, that was what I said 6 months ago, 6 weeks ago, 6 days ago, but I have new information now, or I'm feeling this
There
way
you
about
go.
it, or here's what's new for me. And therefore, we can't move forward with that, or I won't be able to show up for this, or whatever. Yes.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
think especially as a woman
Mm-hmm.
working, rising up in her career, take every opportunity that's available,
Big
just
time.
gobble it up.
Gobble
Uh,
it up.
yeah, but you know what? You don't need to do that. And it's hard to do. It can be very, very scary to
Mm-hmm.
do that, to step
Mm-hmm.
away.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're just going to create something similar for yourself.
Let's end it there, Lark. That's perfect. Lark Meadow, thank you for being on today. She is the co founder and CEO of Aeon Blue, solving the world's fuel crisis, specifically in the aviation and maritime arena, because now we can actually. How about that? Yay, technology. Lark, what a joy having you on. Thank you for being here.
I appreciate you.